Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Pony Express GT3 Challenge. It is the second last race of the season right here, and we at the beautiful circuit of Imola, also known as Autodrome International Enzo E. Di Ferrari. But we know it as Imola, and being the second last round of the championship, what better way to cement legacies in both our Pro and Am classes here tonight. My name is Stephen Koenig, joining me on the microphone and pushing all the buttons in the background. We've got Rob Campbell, and the cameras provided by TrackCam, and it is going to be an absolute amazing run as our drivers are looking to square up around this circuit. It's a beautiful 4.9 kilometer track, and with championships on the line, with our pros really keeping a solid run. And let's take a look at that. Terry Calcott Jr. currently leads on 2,740 points. He's got Nick Tyrrell sitting in second place, 2,530 points, with Ryan Tyler aiming for that second place spot. Depending on if Terry can take the win here tonight, he will walk away with the championship. But second and third is open cards. Nick Tyrrell, Ryan Tyler, Paul Skip, all going for it. Alex Valesco needs to find out against Sean Adkins and Gerald Lowry, and Wes Amrick rounding out that 8th place. But looking at our Am class, it's James Foreman sitting on 2,480 points. If he gets a victory here, he walks away with the championship. But the same is in the Am class. Second, third, all up for grabs. Joshua Sixty currently holds on second place. Braden Coombs in third and has been the fastest during practice. Justin Togdeno along with Stephen Maynard, Daniel Burnett, Russell Abram, and Rene Bada Jr. going and rounding out the pack. And Rob, I've got to say, what a circuit to be at. Imola with a GT3 is absolutely amazing, but also to go and see how close the championship is now that we're on the second last round of the Pony Express GT3 Challenge. I mean, this is coming down to the wire.
Absolutely, Stephen. We're at that other Italian track, not the one that everybody saw the highlights from this weekend, where the massive wreck into turn one. So hopefully we don't see any of that action here, but as you mentioned, things going to be coming down to the wire. The leaders basically doing a victory lap here the last couple races of the season, but it's going to be interesting to watch those battles for second, third, and fourth place in each one of the classes. And speaking of the season, why don't we take a look at the schedule and see where they've been and where they've headed. And so you see there, after a week off for Memorial Day, which wasn't factored into the calendar, was a last-minute kind of decision. We're back here to finish off the last 2 weeks. Imola this week, and then Road Atlanta next week, an extended night race to wrap up the season. So it'll be interesting to see those battles if they actually go down to the very last race of the season, Stephen.
It's going to be an incredible one, and Road Atlanta at night is amazing, but we are here at Imola. And so far, it has been a very interesting drive. This track opened up in 1953, 73 years old at the moment, with a 4.9 kilometer, 3 miles long, with 19 corners. And if you go and drive on the FIM circuit for the motorbikes, there's actually 22 corners with all the chicanes. But our drivers are really trying to dial up the wick now, seeing who can be at the top of the leaderboard. And so far, lying with a 142 is Sean Adkins, who's having a solid run in the Porsche. Not often we get to see him running so high up, but the Jarhead Racing team ensuring this Porsche is going to stay on the top. Ryan Tyler in second place, likes of Sierra going and having a good time out there. He's in third place. Renee Brother Jr. holding on for fourth. Brad McComb. Logan Draper, a new entrant, coming in and having his first debut outing. And he's in the right towards the second last round of the championship. He's looking to make a big impact with these Porsche. And they're on circuit. Joshua Suxi fighting out for the championship. He is desperately looking to try and walk away, at least for the second place here for the Pony Express GT3 Challenge.
Yeah, we should mention Logan Draper. There was a little bit of a hubbub in the Discord there, Stephen. A new driver joined the Discord named Kimi Räikkönen. Turns out his real alias is Logan Draper. So there you go. If you ever wondered who was piloting the Kimi Räikkönen Formula One car under that helmet, it wasn't actually Kimi Räikkönen. It was Logan Draper, the Aussie driver.
Just having that really different alias, that's for certain. Now, we do have the end of line penalties that have come through, which is most certainly going to change how the race is going to go. Likes of Terry Calgary Jr. going to be feeling that one and ensuring that he's got a little bit of work ahead of him to try and push his way to the top. So it's not going to be all easy drives for most of our competitors. Jason Brothers also looking to have a bit of fun. He's just got a time on board of 146.9 outs with the Porsche. And currently trying to get that little bit more pace, but we're running out of time. 2 minutes and 43 seconds remain of our qualifying, and it is going to be a Porsche right at the top with Ryan Tyler in that Mercedes so far, holding on to second place to lock out that front row.
It's a very Porsche-heavy lobby here, Stephen. I was just taking a look. As you mentioned, Jason Brothers put in his lap time. We got, we got a Porsche leading the way, Porsche in fourth, Porsche in sixth, Porsche in 9th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and then we got our end-of-line drivers, pretty much all of them in the Porsche. Terry Cowdery Jr., Russell Abraham, Justin Tardogno, James Foreman, Nick Terrell, all sporting the Porsche here this evening. We actually have 2 Acuras here this evening. One of your favorite cars, the Honda, your favorite GT3 out there, Steve. We got 2 drivers hopping behind the wheel, and then tonight only 2 Ford drivers. That's kind of surprising. And again, only the 3 Mercedes drivers. So very, very heavy onto the Porsche side of things here for Imola. I can't really say that I've had much luck in a Porsche around here. The pendulum effect with a lot of these sharp corners and those heavy curves generally doesn't work out that well for the Porsche, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. Where a car more like the Mercedes, I can really just trumble over those curves and not think twice about it, usually is a good bet to drive around here.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one for the drivers to try and overcome that. And honestly, seeing that they've got that little bit of rotation with the Porsche 992, it's one of the more stable of the Porsches that have come out over time. Jason Brothers moves up to 12th position with 145.0. But as we on board with Sean Adkins heading down towards the bottom, you can see down on the brakes, really trying to keep it all together, not wanting to strike the curbs as you pointed out, but can also have a lot more maneuverability. The understeer is not as bad towards the start of the race, which does play into the favors of the Porsches to get the runaway. And for those that are sitting in the Acura/Honda, likes of our drivers, Brad McCombs, who's fighting out for the podium spot. He's lying 5th in the qualifying, and John Cooper. They've sophisticated choices, might one say.
As much as I did harp on how many Porsches we have in the field, the top 5 actually has a nice spread of cars. We have the Porsche on pole with Sean Adkins, Ryan Tyler currently sitting in 2nd in the Mercedes with Javi Sierra in the Corvette in 3rd. Then we have our second Porsche of Rene Badja Jr. in 4th. And then right out the top 5 is your buddy Brad McCombs in the Honda NSX, Stephen. And then we got a Ford in 7th place. So as much of the Porsches as we do have in the lobby, we do have a nice spread up in the top 5.
It's going to be an incredible one, and now the drivers are going to have to see what they can do. So far, Sean Adkins, undefeated, running a 142.9 in qualifying. Ryan Tyler was only able to get a 143.0 to get that sorted out. But let's take a look over to our grid as we get ready to send off on our race. It's Sean Adkins out in 1st place with Ryan Tyler in 2nd. And locking out row 1. Row 2 is Javier Sierra along with Rene Butter Jr. in 4th place. Looking over to row 3, Brad McCombs, who's fighting out for the championship with Logan Draper, the new driver on the grid. locking out next to him. Wes Amrick in P7 with Alex Velasco looking to try and get the charge in row 4. And moving over to row 5, it's Roger Tyler with John Cooper in the Acura.
And row 6, we're going to find Devin Lowry and Jason Brothers. That's going to be 11th and 12th place in row 7. That's where we're going to see our Mustang of Gerald Lowry in the McDonald's paint scheme we're used to seeing him in. And Jordan Susi in P14th. That's going to round out row 7. Row 8 is where we're going to find Dan Barnett in 15th place and Nick Terrell, one of our end-of-line penalty drivers, in 16th place. Row 9, that's Paul Skip in the Orlando Corp IMSA-esque paint scheme, starting at 17th. And Terry Cowger Jr., our driver, looking to take the Pro Championship and locking that up tonight to start in 18th. And then rounding out the top 20, we're going to find Russell Abraham and James Foreman.
And locking the bottom is Justin Togdegno and Ryan Jeevan. They're going to be having a bit of fun. Just taking a look at some of the profile pictures. I won't lie. Going and seeing Paul Skip going and sitting in the mystery machine, it has me a little bit jealous because that is just absolutely awesome. But now here at Imola, drivers at the ready. We have got 1 hour's worth of racing with drivers going and doing 2 pit stops. It's coming down to who is able to get the pace, who's going to keep tires on, and who is going to try to run the full stint on a single set of tires with these fixed setup cars. It is a difficult one, but out in front is a completely different looking, with Sean Atkins and Ryan Tyler looking to fight it out. And there is our temperature. It's 24 degrees Celsius, 75 degrees Fahrenheit for our outside track temperature. The track is actually lying at 36 degrees. It's rather hot there, 97 degrees Fahrenheit. A little bit of cloudy just to help it, but it's still a very, very hot track, and means it's going to get very, very slick for our drivers, especially as they get more into the wear and tear of their tires as the race continues. But as we are on board with our iRacing safety car, taking a look at the field, what a beautiful shot. I mean, if you had to take a screenshot, this is most certainly what you want to have. Just the GT3s all lined up. Chevrolet, Porsche, Mercedes, everything that you can think of lined up around such a iconic and scenic circuit of Imola.
Yeah, not many tracks have trees right beside the track surface there, Steve. Just kind of shows the age, as you mentioned. Imola, one of the older tracks across the globe. So you see a lot of the landscaping and the trees around the track. It's a really sharp looking track and a lot of elevation changes here. It's a track I enjoy racing on, but you know what? It doesn't seem to enjoy me racing on it as much because I really struggle to have a good finish here. But it's a track I enjoy driving. So we'll see which one of our drivers is really locked in as far as practice, got themselves dialed in, ready to go for 60 minutes. As you mentioned, 2 pit stops coming up, so it could be some strategy at play too as well.
Gonna have to try and see what you can do, but it's all eyes towards the lights. Sean Atkins and Ryan Tyler will lead out as they start making their way through, waiting for the green flag. Everyone getting right onto the back of one another, hoping not to jump and wanting to get an early start. Wes Amrick in that Ford Mustang will want to try and get through the pack as quick as possible for his championship, as it's lights on, lights on, lights on. And it looks like we're going to be under green flag orders now, as they get right onto the power. Sean Atkins trying to get a solid run, heading into turn 1, but Ryan Tyler got the jump off the line. Diving in towards the first left-hander. It's going to be hard braking zone, but take a look at Butter right into the mix as well. Late on the anchors, swings it around the outside. Butter moves up in second. Sean Atkins goes and scurries down to third place. Javier Sierra in the Chevrolet right onto the back of him, as it looks to be clean running through our first couple of corners, but it's absolutely all about attacking in anger now. The drivers trying to go that one step further and seeing what they can do. Late on the power, and we do have one car off, and that is Jason Brothers. He was up the order, clipped a little bit of the dirt, and unfortunately that has spun him around, looking to see Gerald Lowry come flying past him, and now a lot of hard work is needed to try and pull his way back up through the field. Rene Butter Jr. now keeping a look at Alex Velasco, who's having to try and move around Sierra, and Gerald Lowry going and spinning out through the hairpin, just managing to protect the car a little bit, but he's going to be a bit frustrated with that as we're on board with Sierra trying to hold back that mighty Mercedes of Alex Velasco. hard braking into the chicane here. You've got to try and line it up perfectly and not bottom out the car. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of a problem. But also, you can pick up incident points there like no tomorrow as well. But a phenomenal start for some and not for Joshua Suxi, who's fighting out for the championship, who now sits in 18th position and way down from where he wants to be. He needs to be up towards the sharp end of the field to take a victory here to ensure he can lock in a second place.
Oh no, not the Honda.
Oh, Brad McCombs unfortunately getting turned around as well. And it looks like Suxi. Oh my heavens, that would have been...
Oh, that was Draper. That was not Kimi Räikkönen that almost lost it into him too as well. Oh man, what a start, Steven. Heck of a start there for a number of our championship contenders, but our poles that are shot. Oh man, just got a Mustang going off into the wall. West Amick in behind. I don't know what's going on with these drivers on the first lap. I haven't seen this much solo spins here in forever.
And it's purely coming from cold tires and also just with a very hot track. You got to take it easy. You can't push too hard too early on, otherwise it is gonna absolutely wreck you. But take a look, Rene Butter Jr. currently leading out the race, opened up such a gap to Sean Adkins, leaving Ryan Tyler to go and fight out there with Javier Sierra. But Butter has not gone and lost a step, has absolutely launched his way through. I mean, let's take a look here. This is Ryan Tyler, who is leading out, unfortunately, running into a bit of a problem, understeers off the circuit, lands up through the sand trap, and there is Butter just saying thank you very much. Adkins comes in for the fight as well, but it is just an absolute manic run, and we could just see slightly in the background Wes Emmerich going in investigating the tyre wall on the inside. Nick Tyrrell, however, trying to move his way back up. Currently 9 places up from where he started. He now needs to try and get past John Cooper in that Acura NSX and seeing if the Porsche can climb past the Honda. Well, not going to be the easiest of runs. Has the cornering, but now John Cooper has to get his elbows out as much as possible. Nick Tyrrell fighting out for the championship in the pro category, currently lies second. He needs to move up ahead of all the pros, especially Ryan Tyler, Paul Skip, Alex Velasco, Sean Adkins. He needs to beat them all to be able to hold on to that second place and still trying to keep some of the championship hopes alive right behind Terry Calgo Jr. But it is going to be a bit of hard work. He gets past John Cooper, but I don't think John is just going to back off right there. Look towards the inside line as we do see Terry Calgo Jr. now slowly but surely closing up at a rate of knots. He sees John Cooper ahead of him. Nick Tyrrell sitting just ahead as well. Terry is up 10 positions from where he started, becoming one of the hardest chargers in the field right now.
Yeah, well, let's throw the gains and losses up on the timing tower there, Steven, and you can see it's our mid-pack drivers in the standings right now have made the gains up through the field, and then unfortunately you see those massive losses for a number of drivers at the bottom. McCombs, Amick, 13 and 12 spots respectively lost early on, but you know what, thankfully for them, it's a long race. They still got plenty of time to try and make their way up through the field, but our end-of-line penalty drivers here, 2 of them, Terry Calger Jr. and Nick Tyrrell, as you mentioned, are making their way up through the field. Tyrrell doing exactly what he needs if he has any chance to try and close that gap in on Calger Jr. and not allow him to wrap up the championship here, but he's going to need a little bit of help as Terry's sticking only a spot or 2 in behind him.
And right on the back of Terry, he's bringing company. Devin Lowry and Paul Skip also giving charge as well, as the Mercedes and the Chev trying to make up a little bit of time. Lowry having to get a little bit defensive. Paul Skip trying to go and straight line him in that beautiful Chevrolet and really seeing if he can move up through the order. It's nose to tail at this current, but we can see who's going to break a little bit later. It's going to run in favor for Paul Skip into the left-hander. Can he carry the momentum? Hard on the anchors, swings the car through, does get ahead of Lowry, cuts off the nose of Lowry's Mercedes, and now just moves his way back up through the order. Sean Adkins going and fighting out with Javier Sierra. The 2 going side by side. Absolutely beautiful. And take a look at Alex Velasco. Goes and sneaks on through, just trying to make it work. And on contact between Sean Adkins and Velasco slows the whole field up. And immediately we saw Nick Tyrrell having to slow the car down. Now trying to drag race against Sean Adkins. up into the left-hander. Late on the anchor, sends it through. A big mistake coming in as Velasco gets clipped and moves down the order. Velasco got tipped while under braking and now is down the order as he gets overtaken by the entirety of the field. There is James Foreman, who also needs to try and get a victory here tonight, and that would secure his championship win. So just by finishing this race, they will hold the championship. Unfortunately, he's got to try and get through a few cars and a few competitors that are not going to make life any easier for him.
Oh, couldn't say it any better myself there, Stephen, but during all of that, we didn't catch it. Well, you kind of mentioned it. Nick Terrell was able to sneak through, but Terry Calgary Jr. wasn't. He had to back off, almost got caught up in that calamity that was happening. He's now fallen back a number of spots, down to 10th place, so that's got to be putting a smile on Nick Terrell's face. Devin Lowry, he's into the pits early on. Not sure if this is a scheduled stop or not, but we saw him struggling a little bit. But the story of the day right now, Nick Terrell up 12 spots down, just outside the top 3. And it's still early on. He's only about 5 seconds back of the leader, 4.5 seconds as it is now. So showing a ton of pace here now. Could he catch Rene Badgia in the next 10-15 minutes here?
Well, it's going to be a hard chase. And if Terry Calgary Jr. falls down the order and Nick Terrell can get a victory, there is a possibility Nick Terrell can take the championship fight to the last round. But that is only if Terry Calgary Jr. doesn't finish within the top 5 of the class. Alex Velasco trying to make a move as well as he's fighting his way back up through the field. He has got James Foreman up ahead of him. Same goes in for the AM class as Foreman is trying to keep the drive going. Needs to get into the lead of the race, but it's a lot of hard work as Rene Butter is not hanging around for anyone to catch up to him. He is absolutely opening up that gap. He's got Ryan Tyler onto the back of him, who has been setting some incredible lap times, 143.5 as his best lap time. But it's time for Butter to try and get a little bit elbows out, much like we see Velasco and James Foreman absolutely elbows out racing right now. Velasco just not finding any route to get on by. Paul Skip trying to get a little bit of a chase. He's got John Cooper just ahead of him. The Chevrolet has got plenty of power under the right foot, but has to be so careful not to get the tail to swing around and fortunately swap ends. Much like the Acura, has got a huge amount of understeer for the start.
Yeah, it looks like he's got that thing gathered back up. Speaking of gathered up, looks like things kind of settled down here after all that excitement on the first lap, Steven. So we'll see if our drivers can really dial it in and start pushing forward. We got a battle for the lead as Ryan Tyler, our top pro driver, going to move to the inside of Rene Badgia Jr. That's going to move Badgia Jr. down into 2nd overall, but he's still leading the AM class. So that's exactly where he needs to be, Steven. He can afford to let Tyler through, even Sierra and Terrell if you want, and still be leading the top of the AM class. So no real reason for him to push the issue here right now. Still plenty of driving to go as long as he keeps James Foreman well back from him. He's exactly where he needs to be.
Well, at this stage of the game, he's running in the slipstream, means he can start lifting and coasting, and like we've seen during the course of the season, can save that little bit of fuel that can make or break the race as well. You saw that Ryan Tyler was sitting with a 142.9 as the fastest lap, was running quicker. If he can hang in that slipstream, he doesn't have to go all the way through the revs and eat up the fuel. He can try and protect his tires a little bit more, try and protect the fueling a little bit better, and be able to push himself up through the order. As he pointed, just has to try and keep ahead of the other GTD AM classes, while Ryan Tyler needs to open up the gap as much as possible, as Javier Sierra, Nick Terrell, and Sean Adkins will be more than happy to try and relieve him of that first place and have their chance at the championship. Ryan Tyler has got so much pressure right now to make it work. As he leads out, he will be able to slot up into 2nd place into the championship. And if Terry Calgary Jr. can't climb up through the order as fast as he would like, Ryan Tyler can possibly have a shot at Terry heading into the final race. I mean, these are all just working on mathematical games now, trying to see who will be able to stand on top. Well, ultimately, it's going to be a push down to the wire. James Foreman trying to move up through the order, but this is Justin Togdegno, who started in 21st position, has beautifully climbed back up through the order, but he's got Logan Draper, the new driver, the new face on the block, now taking a fight at him, and got to love it, running in this Ayrton Senna helmet colors around Imola, just as a bit of a tribute in Roxy color. So I would say that's the best way to go through it, taking Roxy to fight out, as we do have James Foreman in skeleton the Halloween Rexy colors just ahead of him.
Logan Draper, a little bit of identity crisis there, Steven. He's got the Kimi Räikkönen name in Discord. He's got the Ayrton Senna helmet, and then he's driving Roxy on the track. He's just not sure who he wants to support there, but starting to rake his way back up through the field. We saw him almost lose it through the final corner when Wes Amick was off into the wall. He almost came over and gave him a little how do you do kiss on the bumper while he was over there, but got it collected back up and charging forward. But as you mentioned, Badger Jr. staying tucked in behind Ryan Tyler, probably trying to save a little bit of fuel, as you mentioned, to try and have a little bit quicker pit stop, just a little bit of splash, stay out ahead of the rest of the field. But unfortunately for him, Jonathan Cooper tucked in right behind Paul Skip too as well, our second place AM driver, so he's saving a little bit of fuel there too as well. And then James Foreman doing a little bit of the same thing here, although now he's fallen back a little bit from Alex Velasco and feeling some pressure now from Logan Draper.
And Logan has got nothing to lose. He has got every chance to move up. James Foreman, however, has got a little bit more of a problem, as he needs to try and keep getting the charge up the order. The last thing he wants is Logan to get ahead of him and ending up going and shuffling him back even further down the grid. As Logan, you could see, he did peer his nose in. He tried to see maybe there's an opportunity here. Unfortunately, not enough room to get it done and dusted, but is absolutely keeping the pressure on right now, hoping to try and stay in for a stellar drive. I mean, this is absolutely incredible racing, nose to tail, and we've got multiple silos, different battles up and down through the circuit. No one really having the advantage over one another, but having every chance to try and fight out for the respective championships in both classes. But Draper, doing everything he can, once again looks and shows the nose, saying, listen, can I come on through? James Foreman not answering that phone call. He does not want to lose out a little bit of time, and the moment that Logan goes for that pass, it's going to be a rough one. It's going to be down in the braking into the hairpin. It's going to force a pass to happen. James Foreman had to come off the throttle. Draper gets past, and now Togdegno will have a shot at James Foreman. This is a nightmare for him to get a bit of a foul drive, and now trying to fight out against Justin right behind in the original Porsche colors. Absolutely stunning to see. We also got Nick Tyrrell trying to give a little bit of a chase. He's onto the back of Javier Sierra. That Chevrolet not opening up the gap, just not having an easy time out there. A number of our up in the championship contenders are now starting to feel the effects, pressure starting to come in. They know where they have to be and who they need to race against, but now they are starting too far back, trying to fight their way through on a very hot circuit, and the tires are not as grippy as they would like. Everyone's trying to battle a bit of oversteer, a bit of understeer, all coming into play. The question is, who can protect the tires long enough to have that shorter stop and try and just do a splash, get back out on the track? Or are they going to change the tires, then do a splash and dash for their final pit stop? These are all the different processes that you need to think about, all the ideas of what can be done to move forward in the championship. Terry Calgo Jr. holds on to the fastest lap of the race with a 142.6 on his last lap, so he's doing absolutely everything to try and make up some time and see if he can catch up to the sharp end of the field. But it is Javier Sierra and Tyrrell that are keeping each other rather honest at the moment, lying in third and fourth place. Sean Adkins, after a phenomenal start, well, he's shuffled down to fifth place with Paul Skip trying to close up the distance, and John Cooper, who is currently running second in the GTD AM class, is holding seventh position. He has to keep an eye out for Russell Abram, who is right behind Terry Calgo Jr. I mean, these are all the different factors coming into play. And honestly, Rob, we're in for a race and a half at the moment, and I'm wondering who has got the stamina to go the extra mile, who is able to keep moving forward. So it looks like we've got one car having a bit of a problem. That's Roger Tyler, who is now a lap down on the leaders.
Yeah, unfortunate. It's like race ending for Roger Tyler, but I'm starting to wonder here, Steven. But while you were talking, I was having a look just at Nick Terrell's delta to Ryan Tyler leading the race. He had got that gap down to under 4 seconds, and then once he caught Javi Sierra, it kind of slowed his process a little bit, as you know, catching the driver is one thing, getting around him is another, and he's lost almost a full second here in behind Javi Sierra. But I'm going to kind of go back to, you mentioned the track temps early on when we were just getting gridded up and heading to the green flag. With as quick as Nick Terrell's pushing through the field, I wonder if he's in danger of maybe cooking those front tires. Could we see a 2-tire stop on the front for Nick Terrell once he comes in for either his first or second stop? And we've also seen in races past where some of these drivers have been able to save enough fuel to just go with the one stop. It could be another strategy play too as well. Could maybe Terry Cowger Jr., who's been mired back a little bit in the field here, had his progress stalled a little bit, could he maybe go into fuel save mode to try and make only that one stop, to try and counteract the positions he's lost here?
Well, it is a possibility, but it's going to be a very, very risky move to try and get it done and dusted. But in the world of racing, you've got to be able to take those risks. You've got to be able to get charging on. Ryan Tyler at the moment is not holding back. His last lap time, a 142.6. His personal best. Rene Butter Jr. sits with a 142.8. His personal best, trying to really knuckle down. So there's a couple of drivers just giving it everything they can, as we saw Butter going and bouncing off the curbs, and those Porsches becoming a little bit more difficult to really attack the curbing. You brought it up in qualifying. It's a Porsche field at the moment, but we're seeing a number of drivers attacking the curbs, really going hard up against them. And in the early stages of the races with the spins coming out, the last thing you want to do is, Rene Butter Jr. going and having to catch the rear end through the hairpin, going a little bit cross-armed as he got on the power, trying to close up to Ryan Tyler. These two still giving it everything they can, but the question is, fighting with the car the way they are, it's going to be an absolute mission for the next 41 minutes without getting too tired. Alex Velasco trying to make up some time. He hasn't had the easiest of race, currently in 9th position. He's got Russell Abrams, who is 3rd in the GT3 AM class, just ahead of him. Abrams does not want to be caught out and wants to try keep the momentum every which way possible, but Alex is just battling to keep this Mercedes in check. He hasn't had the easiest to drive, and it doesn't look as comfortable as he would like it to be.
Yeah, he's really pushing to try and get back those positions he lost from that little contact he had earlier on with, I think if I remember correctly, it was Sean Atkins, the Porsche that was on the inside of him. But, you know, we'll have to keep an eye out with the handling of these cars. The Porsche, with the fuel cell over the front, you get a lot of weight at the front end of the car, and that's where the balance is really great at the start of a race. It's perfectly kind of balanced out, whereas the fuel burns off, that the Porsches will transfer into understeer, where a lot of the other cars, you know, the mid-motor cars, they have a little more understeer at the start of the race. It kind of balances out a little bit, and then a little oversteer at the end, and then, you know, vice versa for the front motor cars. So as the race wears on here and that fuel burns off in the Porsches, they're going to really start to understeer. If we see them continue to abuse those turtle curves, as we just saw, Logan Draper in behind got sideways in behind Russell Abraham. If those Porsche drivers continue to abuse those turtle curves, Steven, they're going to get a little light on the front end. We might start seeing a few more of them spinning off.
Yeah, well, in Logan Draper's way, he's trying to make a 4-wheel turn into a 2-wheel. He's going for the FIM license instead of the FIA, as he tries to push a little bit harder to climb up through the field. He's got everything to prove, nothing to lose at this stage of the game, and does hold the fastest lap time of the race, a 142.366, and that really tells you he's not hanging around. He wants to try and make an impact here for his debut race and not wanting to lose out to the rest of the field. Ultimately, you got to be very careful. Those turtle curves, we've seen it in the past. You catch it, it sends the car off into the distance and can, quite frankly, end your race. We did see Devin Lowry, unfortunately, getting a black flag penalty, and it looks to be him done and dusted at the moment as he's in pit lane, and I don't see much movement out of the pits. But Logan Draper doing everything he can to try and get a solid charge. Sean Atkins trying to close up as well, as he's trying everything he can to get onto the back of Nick Tyrrell, who is moving forward. Ryan Tyler holds on to the lead of the race. Javier Sierra up into second, Nick Tyrrell into third, as we do see Rene Butter Jr. into the pits. And that is immediately followed up by John Cooper, who's going and diving into the pit lane. So first of our pit stops that we're expecting here, James Foreman diving into the pits. Remember, he needs to get a win in the class to be able to secure a championship. Wes Amrick going and diving into the pits. A variety of drivers, and Wes Amrick's going to be doing a little bit of repair to the front nose of that Mustang. It's a little bit bent, it's a little bit broken, and he needs to try and get himself going. But it is going to be a long race, as Butter now exiting pit lane, all looking rather clear, and now getting onto the power. We'll see the McDonald's machine of Lowry going right onto the back of him, trying to give him a little bit of a, you best get going as fast as possible. I do not want to lose a bit of time here. Gerald Lowry swings around the outside, says thank you very much to Butter, who obviously hasn't got the drive just as yet. I wonder if Butter's actually swapped tires and is out on a cold set right now. He's just trying to get a little bit of heat generated into it, because he is understeering out of the corners.
He was up on the jack stands when we caught him in the pits, and having a look at his pit stop time, 21.62 seconds. Basically, the magic number for 4 tires is 22 seconds on a GT3. So I'm going to say he at least changed the front two, Stephen, probably all 4. So it's going to give him take him a lap or almost 2 laps here to get those tires up to operating temp. As we see, obviously Sierra comes in. Oh, Nick Tyrrell faked out. Sean Atkins in behind. Potentially might have got a penalty there, as he did cross the pit entry line and then came back over. So we'll have to see if he serves the penalty when he comes around. Interesting move there by Nick Tyrrell. Might have been the wrong play, but he's going to stick out one more lap. Terry Calgary Jr. able to conserve some fuel, and he's actually closed that gap on Tyrrell now. Stephen, only 2.5 seconds between two of our 3 championship contenders in the pro class.
I wonder if Terry was thinking about that pit stop and looked into the mirror to see where Terry Calgary Jr. was going. And the moment he didn't see Calgary was aiming for pit lane, he decided, that's it, I need to get out, I need to keep ahead, to keep on the fight. Ryan Tyler, who's already done his pit stop now, is up into 3rd place with Javier Sierra and Sean Adkins trying and following suit. We're leading out for our GTD AM, though. It's going to be an interesting one. But this is Nick Tyrrell looking into pit lane. And he does think about it and pulls out almost immediately just to try and see what he can do. It's going to be close to see whether that is a penalty that will be issued out. And from the sim itself saying, hey, can't do that. That's a bad idea. As Logan Draper getting past Alex Valesco, who is on a phenomenal charge, trying to reclaim positions from where he was after a little bit of a tuck and turn that he had right here at the hairpin. Valesco not going to be backing down, but Logan, I've got to say, just lap after lap has been a seriously quick contender. And if he was here earlier in the championship, I do think he would be a proper fight. As both Terry Calgary Jr. and Nick Tyrrell dive into the pit lane, the question is, have they opened up enough of a gap to Ryan Tyler, Javier Sierra, Sean Atkins, along with Logan Draper, Alex Valesco? Because here they enter the box, the 2 Porsches getting sorted out up onto the jacks for Nick, but it's not on the jacks for Terry Calgary Jr. He is not on the jacks. He's going to stay on a fresh set of tires by the looks of it, and possibly just a refuel to get going. But here comes Ryan Tyler, keeping his foot firmly on the throttle. Is this going to be enough for him to slingshot into the lead of the race and carry on a dominating run as he gives it everything he's got? He passes both into the pits as Nick and Calgary coming out, and does look like Nick was able to get new fresh set of tires on, and Terry was a bit slow on that pit stop. I wonder if he was also up onto the jacks. We just couldn't see it. Justin Tognego, unfortunately, getting a black flag. Roger Tyler getting back into the pits, and the race is on, up and down through the field as everyone trying to move forward. Devin Lowry getting a drive through. Unfortunately, that is not going to help his case. Small incident points starting to rack up quite quickly here, and Imola is definitely taking its pound of flesh from our drivers.
Yeah, it looks like the winner through that pit cycle was Ryan Tyler himself. He had about a 4.5, almost 5-second gap over Nick Tyrrell whenever they came in for the fuel cycle. Ryan Tyler came in a couple laps before. He's now got that gap up to 6.8, almost 7 seconds over Nick Terrell. And I'm having a look, Nick Terrell's time in his stall, 18 seconds. So we saw him up in the jack stands. That means at most he was only able to take front tires here, Steven. So we'll see how that compares to some of our drivers that took 4. We know Rene Badgett Jr. took 4 tires. He's in 7th place, showed a lot of pace early on. We'll see once those tires acclimatize there for Badgett Jr. If he can start to roll back through the field. Right now he's got a little bit of work to do as he's sitting about 9 seconds back of our leaders.
Absolutely a great fight going on. Javier Sierra not going and having a difficult time there. Brad McCombs, unfortunately, drive through, going and landing up, and that will most certainly hamper his efforts in the championship. He was running 3rd. He still had a chance to go into 2nd. And Justin Togdegno, who was running in 4th place, only 40 points away from Brad, now has an opportunity to go and usurp him right at the wire. I mean, this is turning into a race and a half, and drivers starting to feel the penalties racking in quite quickly. Everyone trying to take their chance. Nick Tyrrell getting a little bit defensive, trying to hold back Javier Sierra. Sean Adkins onto the back of him. Terry Calgar Jr. seeing that he can close up the gap as well. I mean, this is turning into a monstrous run at the moment. Everyone trying to push a little bit harder. But for Terry, he needs to get to the sharp end of this field to go and be able to carry the championship into the final round and be able to say, listen, I've won this. I've taken it all. At the moment, with him lying in 5th place, it's going to be leaving the championship down to the last race of the season, and no one wants to be having that sort of pressure dumped on their shoulders, especially after a hard-fought season. Nick Tyrrell, however, holding back Sierra, doing everything he can to try and keep the Chevrolet at bay. The Porsches, very nimble out of the corners, but don't count out Javier Sierra, who's more than happy to go and lay the pressure in, see for every opportunity to move forward. Sean Adkins is also just trying to get a recovery drive. It's Nick Tyrrell getting it sideways out of the chicane, having the Porsche nearly snapping underneath him, and just really flirting with danger right now. Javier Sierra keeping an eye on his mirrors, seeing Sean Adkins all over the back of him, and now Terry Calgar Jr. getting involved in the fight as well, as we have got a proper 4-horse drive for 2nd place.
Yeah, it looks like Nick Terrell having to take a lap or two to get those front tires up to temp and deal with the understeer. The Porsche has allowed those other 3 drivers, Stephen, to get right up into the battle. And one of them is the driver he didn't want to see get into that battle the most, was Terry Calgar Jr., who's just made the move around Sean Adkins. It's going to move him up into 4th place. That only puts 1 car between he and Nick Terrell now. Javi Sierra, that lone driver in between. And then don't forget Ryan Tyler, our 3rd place driver of the championship, currently leading the race. So he's doing exactly what he needs to do, try and maximize his points haul, but he's probably hating seeing what he's seeing on his relative screen with Calgar Jr. now moving up into the top 5.
Going to be asking Sierra to go and shuffle back Nick Tyrrell, and Calgar Jr. will be willing Sean Adkins to keep into the fight as well. But for our running of the GT3 AM, so far it's Butter up into 1st place as he keeps ahead of Russell Abram in 2nd place, and James Foreman out in 3rd. James Foreman really trying to push as hard as possible. He needs to clear Alex Velasco. He needs to catch up to Russell Abram and Rene Butter Jr. to be able to get himself right to the sharp end of the field. But he's got pressure on the back by John Cooper, the Canadian driver, not going and having an easy time out there with the Acura NSX. He will one day get called for what it is. But Cooper absolutely hammering it and really showing what he can do. He's a little bit away, but it's still a chance for him to try and snatch up that absolute run through the order and see if he can get past James Foreman and try go for that 3rd place in class. Alex Velasco, however, is keeping lots of pressure on Russell Abram at the moment, trying to see if he can get on by, really attacking the curbs, utilizing the big heavy nose from this absolute machine, the Mercedes. And fun fact, do you know that the Mercedes engine bay is quite recessed in towards the driver's side? It's closer to a mid-engine than a front-engine car.
Yeah, I believe I've seen a couple of behind-the-scenes setups of that, and I think Ford actually mentioned that that's the layout they were trying to copy with the Mustang, is they put it kind of basically right underneath where the firewall would be, almost into the driver's cockpit area. And I think if you actually take a look at the side of the car, the side profile of the car where the driver would sit, the driver is almost sitting perfectly in the middle of the car for the trying to maximize as much of a 50-50 weight distribution as they can. So as you mentioned, interesting stuff there, Stephen, how the engineers really take a lot of thought into, although it is a front engine rear drive car, that they're still trying to put as much weight in the middle of the car as possible.
And that will also go and give him a little bit more rotation on the rear. And as we saw, Alex Velasco didn't have to fight too hard against Russell Abram. He gave him a little bit of a room. Said, no, you're not my fight. You're not my class. I'm not worrying about you. And this allows Russell to go in the toe and pull himself along, saving a little bit of fuel. Also, by saving fuel, keeps a bit of pressure onto the nose as well. But got to be careful of those curbs. As you can see, everyone just mounting, launching themselves over. And I do think a couple of drivers have picked up a few incident points there as we're heading into the last 28 minutes of this race. And it's an absolute fight down to the wire. Everyone trying to have a solid run. Couple of drivers that are not having a bit of fun out there, Joshua Stuxy and Justin Togdegno, who are really desperate for a solid run up through the order. They sit in 18th and 19th position and will not be scoring enough points to fight out in the championship. For Justin, he will remain in 4th place in the GT3 AM class. He will not be able to go for the top 3, and the same as Joshua Stuxy as well, not having an easy drive, will be also not going for that top 3. He will actually be losing time to Brad McCombs as well. So he will sit possibly in 3rd place by the end of the race, might be shuffled down to 4th. These are just taking a look at rudimentary math, and well, it's not looking good for some of our championship contenders. However, James Foreman's not going to be minding this, as he's currently holding on to 3rd place. He just needs to try and find a little bit of pace to catch up to Russell, see what he can do, much like Terry Calgo Jr. needing to try and shuffle his way back up the order. He's in a little bit of a hot zone right now. The Pony Express team not having an easy run this time out. We've always seen Terry is able to clear the field quite quickly. Now, it doesn't seem to be the case. He's having to fight tooth and nail to try and find any little bit of pace here at Imola.
Yeah, we're seeing Nick Terrell starting to pull away from this, what was a quartet turning into a trio now, as he's started to focus forward and trying to chase down Ryan Tyler, but Tyler been able to open up almost an 8-second gap over 2nd place Terrell now, while he was stuck trying to hold off Javi Sierra, Terry Calgary Jr., and Sean Atkins. But, you know, still plenty of time to go, Stephen. As you mentioned, Susie and Tardogno, maybe not the race they were envisioned when they got to the track here this evening to start putting in practice laps. But as you always say, you're a proponent of this. You see the green flag, you got to see the checker, especially when you're in that championship battle. There's still 26 minutes to go. You never know what could happen if that field up ahead, especially if the leaders start getting into the back end of the field, lap traffic. You never know when the driver thinks that I'm going to move over to the left, let the quicker car through and just get a little bit of a wire cross, and you never know what could happen here towards the end of the race.
Even the thought process of, I know my car, I can still hold it in 3rd gear around this corner, no need for 2nd, and it can bite you. That's it. If you see the green, you got to see the checkered, you got to see it through. It doesn't matter if you're first or last. Every point counts, and also the confidence of seeing it through to the end. Sean Atkins going and keeping solid pressure on Terry Calgo Jr., trying to see if he can make up a little bit of time. Javier Sierra not going and backing off at the moment, holding on to 3rd overall here, and 3rd in class is a big jump for Sean, really bouncing the Porsche onto 2 wheels. Going and seeing how it feels to be a Ducati around the Imola circuit and having a little bit of a tough time out there. John Cooper trying to also move his way back up through the order, with James Foreman currently running 3rd in class. John Cooper's able to make up a lot of time under braking, got himself sorted and right into the back of James Foreman. Now, this is going to be an interesting one. The Acura can brake a lot later than you can think, and will be gently working on lift off Overseer to try and get that car to circle around him. And immediately he is putting a huge amount of pressure onto the back of James Foreman, who's not able to run away. James is doing everything he can. He will be running straight ahead, but is opening up a bit of a hole in the air, creating a slipstream for John Cooper to just pull himself along, try and get into the vacuum. He looked towards the inside line and second guessed it, but John is showing his nose. And for James Foreman, this is not what he wants to be seeing. He wants to try and open up the distance a little bit more to try and have some extra points in the bag, considering he's a little bit down the order. But John Cooper having a stellar run on his outing.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to finally find a way around James Foreman. But nice battle of a couple different thought processes in the cars here. You got the twin turbo V6 of the Acura mid-motor car. You get the rear motor Porsche flat 6. Both making their power differently, both having their mass balanced out differently, Stephen, but very comparable times for those two of them. But Ryan Tyler, the belle of the ball here for the majority of the race so far. He got himself out front, got around Rene Badgett Jr., hasn't looked back, continues to open up that gap. We'll see if he can bring it home with maybe one stop. Right now, if I was him, I'd kind of go into fuel save mode, Steve. You got almost 8 seconds over second place. You really have no reason to push forward. Do a lot of lifting and coasting, save that fuel. Maybe you can go on the one-stop strategy here.
That's going to be a little bit of hard work, that's for certain. But Ryan absolutely soaking it up right now, looking to go home with full set of points, trying to keep the incident points down, trying to really keep on the power. As you can see, throwing that Mercedes in and out through the corners, just trying everything he can. I do want to point out Nick Tyrrell's up into second place, but it's Javier Sierra that holds the fastest lap time of the race, a 142.350. Terry Calco Jr. hasn't had much of an answer for Sierra. He's looking to score his first round of points here in the Pony Express, hoping that he can really shove his way up through the order. I mean, this is turning into a solid run. A couple of drivers really battling to try and stay ahead of the pack. Others trying to scratch ahead of what can be done to move up through the order. Nick Tyrrell in second place will be fuming now that he's seeing Ryan Tyler, who will be maximizing the points. Remember, there was only a 30-point difference between Ryan Tyler in third place and Nick Tyrrell in second. Now it is going to be it's going to be Ryan Tyler maximizing the points with a victory to get into second place and forcing Ryan Tyler, or forcing Nick Tyrrell, to go into third. Terry Calgo Jr. is also having his points eaten into at the moment. So it's not quite sure where the championship may lie, and needs to try and figure out what can he do to try and clear the likes of Nick Tyrrell and Javier Sierra, just to make sure he has that little bit of room heading into the final race of the season coming up next week. But man, oh man, Imola definitely showing it's coming down to who has got the right calculations, who can move forward. John Cooper busy going and checking up onto the back of James Foreman, looking down the inside. Couldn't quite get the pass done, but is definitely showing his nose. Foreman not having an easy time here. John Cooper really laying in the pressure, really getting into the back of him. And take a look who's looking to join in. It is also Paul, it's the likes of Paul Skip in that Chevrolet, has been drawing in a bit closer and can make this duo into a bit of a trio. Who is going to have the run for the tango as they head into turn one? James Foreman, latest on the brakes, lost to the late breakers to get it done and dusted, but it's definitely John Cooper showing that he can fight. It will be his first round of points as well, and a third place on a debut outing is no easy feat, and I'm sure would be more than happy to put himself onto the podium.
Yeah, if they keep battling though, as you mentioned, Paul Skip going to join the party with his party hat, his streamers, and his blowhorn. Steven coming in to maybe spoil that debut for Jonathan Cooper, but we'll keep an eye on that one. This is our closest battle on track. Javi Sierra, Nick Tyrrell, Terry Calgary Jr., Sean Adkins. These guys kind of stalled out here the last 5-10 minutes, Steven. Everything's kind of calmed down at the front. We had a lot of excitement at the start. It looks like everybody's kind of gotten into their groove here, into their pace, and they're just kind of running off laps here, trying to work on strategy when they're going to come in for their second stop.
That's it, and Justin, we saw, unfortunately, landing up with a drive-through penalty for incident limits reached. John Cooper gets right onto the back, and that is Russell Abram. This is a big one. Russell making a huge mistake, and unfortunately, that's thrown him down the order. Hard braking into the chicane. Did it snap? Oh, attacked the curbs a little too hard. Swings the back round, and just managing to protect it from the wall. Oof, couldn't get closer even if you tried. But now is down the order. That means James Foreman up into second place. John Cooper into third. Butter holds on to first, but Foreman is exactly where he wants to be. And now John Cooper seeing an opportunity to go for silverware instead of bronze.
Yeah, I always prefer eating off silverware than bronze myself, Steven. So not surprising that Cooper wanting to take away that spot, but looks like something happened to Justin Targdogno too as well, not long before Russell Abraham. So we're starting to see the Porsches here. What I mentioned, once that fuel burns off, the front end gets light and the back end gets squirrely. And again, the solo spin out of the final corner for him. Again, he's going to keep it off the wall too as well. And then unfortunately, our McDonald's car, Gerald Lowry, one of the drivers we saw struggling on lap one. And it looks like it's going to be not a McHappy night for Gerald Lowry.
Oh, that slow spin that comes out. He's able to get it going just in front of one of our Porsches. It's able to clear on by. But, yeah, that's when you go and get yourself some McNuggets and you just sit in the corner, feel bad. And just have some of the comfort food keep you going.
He's going to be McSad tonight, Steven.
Yeah, no, got to get that special toy, that's for certain. Javier Sierra holding on, trying to see if he can keep that third place. What a run he's had thus far. Nick Tyrrell starting to open up the gap, but take a look. Terry Calgar Jr. just not having the race that we've usually seen him all season long. Terry's been one of these stalwarts, always at the sharp end of the field. This will be one of the very few times that Terry's not sitting onto the podium, as we see James Foreman comes flying into pit lane. John Cooper, Russell Abraham, they all dive into pit lane, leaving Butter out on the track to carry on. This is going to be a very interesting call for the final pit stop. Up, down, James Foreman getting ready to go as he wants to get in and out of the pits as fast as possible. John Cooper as well. Unfortunately, it saw Russell Abraham missing his box. He had to go and reverse back a little bit. Brandon Coombs also dives into the pits. He's fighting out for the championship, but it is going to be a solid run. James Foreman, a very, very fast stop, gets ahead of John Cooper and now moves up in second place. John Cooper into third, now needing to try and give it that one last push. The last of the pit stops done and dusted for James Foreman and John Cooper. Now they've got to see what they can do to keep a solid charge up through the order. I mean, this is going to be a wild run till the end. Roger Tyler out in the Porsche hasn't had an easy run so far, 19th overall and down 10 positions from where he started. But Roger hasn't thrown in the towel as yet. But the question that comes in, who is going to go for those pit stops? Ryan Tyler is not going to do it. Is it going to be Nick Tyrrell to identify a possibility? No. It looks like our front runners in the top 5 all going and saying, we are not diving into the pits. And here comes Logan. Slowly but surely, he's been trying to eat into the gap and see what he can do. Butter pulls into the pits, wanting to get his stop done and dusted. Alex Velasco looking to try and see if he wants to come in, second guessed it, and will stay out to go and push that a little bit harder. So for the GT3 Pro drivers, they got to go and stretch the tanks out a little bit longer, try and see if they can squeeze out every little bit of jungle juice out of the cars to ensure he stays in towards the fight. But it is going to be an interesting one for Butter, who has a monster of a gap to James Foreman. Is he going to switch out a new set of tires on that car, or is it going to be a splash, dash, and run away?
He's already down off the jack stands, and away he goes, 16.5 seconds in his stall. So that would only make for 2 tires if he changed any tires at all. But we'll see how quick his outlap, or how slow his outlap is, I guess, Steven, to try and calculate that. But I'm not surprised to see that he was in that lap. He was one of our first stoppers for the first fuel cycle through, so he was probably darn near on the empty with the light. Probably been flashing for a couple laps. He took out a little bit of electrical tape, stuck it over that light on the dash, and told the missus, don't worry about it, just get in and drive.
I know my car. Watch me. I know my car. Well, René Butter is currently 8th in the championship, so a win here in the GT3 AM class will most certainly move him up in towards the top 5, which I think he's aiming for. Ryan Tyler pulling into the pits, but Nick Tyrrell not. Nick Tyrrell and Terry Calgo Jr., they're going to go that extra lap. Javier Sierra goes into the pits. So a big move coming in as Nick Tyrrell and Terry Calgo Jr., they're going to stretch those tanks out. They've done this on the first stop where they went one lap longer than Tyler, but the problem is they weren't able to get that solid drive to stay in. I mean, this is a bit of a wild moment for both drivers, and they're rolling the dice to see whether they're going to get snake eyes or are they going to work out a proper time. I mean, this is absolutely mental, and each of the drivers doing everything they can to stay at the sharp end of the field and ensure that they go for it. Well, do you want to know that Renee Butter Jr. has only had he's had 2 podiums, never had any wins, been in the top 5 3 times this season, top 10 3 times this season, and well, to go and look at a pole in the class and looking at a win will be an absolute feat of note. Seeing Alex Valesco there, quick flash of light saying how's it, comes bailing on past up into 7th position, so looking to get his very first win of the season here in the championship. He lies 8th in the championship, and a full haul of points in the classes on the cards here, and he wants to make it absolutely work. We've got just some incredible running, and well, we're seeing drivers push themselves and push the boundaries. I mean, this is going to be a hard one, as we do see a couple of the drivers still pulling into the pits. McCombs trying to get a little bit more of a run, Joshua Suxi as well. I mean, this is just an absolutely wild race.
Yeah, there comes our leader, Nick Terrell, in finally for his stop, but Terry Calger Jr. able to eke out another lap. So I mentioned earlier, potential fuel strategy there for him. We saw him kind of mired in behind Javi Sierra, and I think that was by purpose, Steven. I think he was purposely staying back there, trying to save a little bit of fuel, knowing that he just didn't have the outright raw pace here tonight to work his way up to the top and around Nick Terrell just on the track. So you're going to try field strategy here, or pit strategy here. We'll see how quick he can get in and out of pit road. Nick Terrell has completed his stop. He's exiting pit lane in only 10.8 seconds in the stall for Nick Terrell, which is at least 3 seconds quicker. Sorry, 12.9 seconds for Javi Sierra, 10.85 for Nick Terrell. Those are our 2 quickest fuel stops this cycle through. So significantly less time in the stall for Nick Terrell. Hopefully he's taking enough fuel here to get himself to the end.
Well, with Ryan Tyler now up into 2nd place, he's going to be on a hard charge. Terry Calgo Jr. really taking a gamble to try and see if he can go that little bit longer compared to the rest. And this is where you wish you had the analog gauges. If it starts looking like it's going a little bit in the wrong direction, you turn your head to see if you can just change the perspective of the needle. That's why I don't like the digital gauges. They tend to be completely right when it's running out of fuel. But Sean Atkins, a big problem coming in for him. Unfortunately, black flag due to track limits, and he will have a drive through in the last 11 minutes of the race. That is not what he wanted to have, and will definitely throw him down the order even further. Terry Calgo Jr. into the pit lane as Ryan Tyler trying to keep Nick Tyrrell at bay. They both bouncing over the curbs, really trying to attack the corners as hard as possible for Ryan Tyler. This is a solid run for him. He has taken 2 poles this season. He has taken 3 wins this season. He's been on the podium 5 times. He's been in the top 5 7 times this season. And now he has an opportunity to go for 1 more victory. Can he get it done and dusted? Terry Calgo Jr. make his way down pit lane. Here comes Ryan Tyler as he keeps his foot firmly on the power. Terry Calgo Jr. going and losing out to Tyler, but is going to immediately see that it is Nick Tyrrell just ahead of him. The championship runners now see each other, but it's all reversed. We have got Ryan Tyler, who's 3rd in the championship, now 1st. Nick Tyrrell, who's 2nd in the championship, now still 2nd. And 1st in the championship for our pros, Terry Calgo Jr. lying in 3rd place. It is a complete flip round for the championship, and it's all now to maximize the points for Terry Calgo Jr. He's exactly where he wants to be. Finishing up in 3rd means that he can secure that win, but a bit of a problem for the Acura. Oh, John Cooper losing it behind James Foreman, and not what he wanted to have. The 77 car just landing up into the grass. And I know Honda's make some very good lawnmowers, but that is not what you want to have. Let's take another look at the angle. Runs out wide, slipped on the rear. Oh man, just got on the power, and just also as he came out, the car was a little bit upset as it went over the curbing, got on the power, and it just rotated around underneath him. Not what you want to have for the Acura NSX, but it's something that you got to be so mindful of this track. And this is why we say, whatever happens, keep your foot in it. You're not quite sure what's going to happen, because now Russell Abram up into third place ahead of John Cooper for the GTD AM. I mean, this really tells you how the race is going, where the drivers need to find that little bit of time as the final 8 minutes and 53 seconds carry on. I mean, Rob, we're into the dying minutes of the second last round of the championship here in the Pony Express GT3 Challenge. I mean, this is a nail biter with everyone trying to give it that final hard push. It looks like the leaders of the championship, Terry Calgo Jr. and James Foreman, will be carrying enough points heading into the final round to hold their championship and call themselves champion, but they have to see the checkered flag first. And we've so far seen some critical mistakes coming out. Nick Tyrrell, however, looking to try and get ahead of Ryan Tyler, because if Ryan finishes ahead of Nick, it means that he will be moving up into second place in the championship, and the fight will come down to the wire between these two cars.
Yeah, still plenty to play here, as you mentioned, with 8 minutes to go, Stephen, but we've seen so many solo spins here tonight. I think we only actually caught one incident that was maybe a little bit of contact, and even then it was just such minor contact. But it seems like most of the incidents we've seen tonight has just been drivers, you know, losing the back end of the car, whether it's just been them getting up in the curbs, getting the car a little bit loose when it's hopping around, or it could be just the track temps that we're seeing here tonight with the sun that's, thankfully for our drivers, gone behind the clouds here a little bit for the last minute or two. We'll see if it pops back out, but you know what, anything can happen, especially with these Porsches and Mercedes cars, two of the trickiest ones to drive in the GT3 class. So it's still a lot to unfold here. Interesting to see all of our championship contenders found their way up to the sharp end of the field where they're going to battle it out.
And now they're starting to see a little bit of traffic ahead of them. Joshua Suxi trying to give it a little bit more of a chase up through the order, but man, oh man, Ryan Tyler now feeling the pressure. Nick Tyrrell has decided to dial up the pressure. He's up to a 1:42.2, the fastest lap time of the race. Nick wants to get past Ryan as fast as possible, wants to really lean on the back of the car. Terry Calgo Jr., long as he can just see them in the front windscreen, he's happy. He will be holding on and just allowing the championship fight to go down for second place. But Nick Tyrrell and Ryan Tyler know what's on the line. They know what they have to do. If they want to keep the championship hopes alive, they want to hold on to that second place, they need to beat one another. There was only 40-point difference, and at the moment, it's been a dominating run for Ryan Tyler. Nick Tyrrell, however, will not want to be losing a bit of time. He swings to the outside. Nick guards the line, protects the apex, absolutely runs it out wide. Nick Tyrrell keeps once again on the power, right into the back of Ryan. Can't get past that big Mercedes, parking it, stopping it dead on the apex every which way. And now that there is a bit of lap traffic ahead of them, they've got to be careful, leaning on one another into the chicane. Who's the last of the late breakers, though? Onto the anchors, and both looking to try go side by side. Brave on Nick and Ryan to get it done and dusted. Usually ends in tears, but both drivers giving just enough room to try and survive that one. But absolutely amazing racing for the overall lead of the race, the lead in the GTD Pro, and for the fight out for second in the championship. These two are not holding anything back against one another. Nick Tyrrell around the outside, keeps his foot on the gas. Ryan stuck to the right-hand side, won't have the advantage into turn one. He's got to try and out-drag him, really trying to see what he can do. Nick Tyrrell just managing to get the nose ahead of the Porsche, late onto the anchors. It's going to be Nick that's into the corner first, but can he hold the line as immediately Ryan tried to jump over the curbs? He loses the rear end, and that's it. It's just turnover. Ryan Tyler, championship hope to go in for second place. Gone, gone, gone as Javier Sierra goes and gets round him. Sierra up into third. A monster run for the championship. Nick Tyrrell now just needs to finish the race ahead of Tyler. He will get a full sweep of points if he finishes out in first place. He had to work for it though, but it's still a little bit of time here. 4 minutes and 30 seconds. As we saw, Ryan Tyler had a dominating run for the first half of the race. Unfortunately, now losing all the way into fourth place, and that will be his chances for second place thrown away. And it just came down to pushing the Merc a little too hard.
Yeah, and you know, Terry Calgary Jr. sitting in third place. Steven was just loving watching those battle up ahead. He was probably hoping both of them would have got together and spun out, and he could have just scooted through to take the win. But as you mentioned, second place is going to be exactly what he needs to bring home the championship or lock himself in the championship. It looks like Javi Sierra now has had a spin. He's going to lose those positions he just gained from Ryan Tyler, so that's going to move Ryan Tyler back up into third place. But you know what? The hats off to Ryan Tyler. He knew exactly what he needed to do if he had any chance at potentially having a shot at the championship heading into the final race. He needed to try and stay out ahead of Nick Terrell and Terry Calgary Jr. and hope maybe something happened to Calgary Jr. before the end of the race. But unfortunately, when you're pushing that hard sometimes, Stevens, all it takes is one little mistake and the back end snaps around on you.
And also, I've just got to point out, Logan Draper has closed up at a rate of knots. He's fourth overall, just joining in with the championship and now having a solid charge up through the order. I'll say, hats off to Logan at the moment on a stunning debut here at the Pony Express GT3. But let's take a look. Oh, it just all started going wrong as he exited the chicane. The rear stepped out. Ryan Tyler, unfortunately, catching the nose against the wall. All that he can hope is Terry Calgary Jr. to try and retake the lead of the race and force Nick Terrell into second place if he wants to try and keep the championship alive. Javier Sierra also taking too much curve early on the power car, getting a little bit unsettled, got onto the gas to just try and rejoin. But a third place taken away from him just with such a critical mistake. I don't think Terry Calgary Jr. will be able to get past Nick Terrell at the moment unless something has to go on. But that means Nick Terrell will be clear of Ryan Tyler heading into the final race. He will have a huge amount of points to play with. And all he needs to do is come into the top 3 into the last round of the championship to secure second place. Unless Terry Calgary Jr. can get round him and force him back into second place. But with 2 minutes to go, it's going to be a rough one as our drivers giving it one more go to really see how hard can they push. Nick Terrell still holds the fastest lap time of the race with a 142.2 at the moment. Terry Calgary Jr. holds a 142.3 that last lap. Both drivers into the 42. Ryan Tyler trying to fight his way through as Logan looking to shuffle him back. This is a nightmare run for the likes of Ryan Tyler because this is points being stripped away from him, and it's contact. Just that little bit of net code coming into play. Ryan kicked off into the side, and I don't think it was anything but net code there that flicked him off. But Ryan Tyler has lost a significant amount of points as Javier Sierra came on by. It was side by side with Logan as they came into turn 1. Swinged it out, turn 2, and yep, no, that was definitely a little bit of net code between the two. And even then, it was a tough call indeed. Well done to Ryan for keeping that car pointing in the right direction. But now in the points, he's down to 5th. He's gone and lost out that time. And unfortunately, that means that Ryan Tyler will most certainly be fighting out for 3rd place in the championship with Paul Skip on the back of him, lying in 4th place coming the last round. I mean, this is a nightmare race for Ryan Tyler. What looked to be a fairy tale story has now just turned into a terrible, terrible time and a night to forget.
Yeah, he's went from dreaming sweet thoughts, Stephen, to ending up on Nightmare on Elm Street for Ryan Tyler. But our leader is going to pick up the white flag this time by. So last time around here for Nick Terrell to wrap up the win in week 11 of 12. Terry Calgary Jr. had started closing that gap a little bit. It was down to about 1.7 seconds, but Terrell's been able to open it back up. So I think that was Terry Calgary's last shot, last push to try and close that gap. The battle on the last lap here, Steven, it looks like barring any mistake or catastrophic move by Nick Terrell, he should be able to lock this one up.
It's going to be one heck of a run. Now, I do want to talk about if Paul Skip can stay where he is behind Ryan Tyler. He has a chance to find out for third in the championship, but that's only if Alex Velasco, who holds on to 8th position, doesn't get round him. So Paul Skip now, seeing Tyler sitting in 5th and seeing that opportunity, going, yes, this is exactly where I want to be. This is how I want to climb up the order and have a chance to go for that top spot. However, for Nick Tyrrell, he had to fight tooth and nail to try and get into the lead of the race. Terry Calgo Jr. as well, at one stage of the game, looked like his championship hopes were starting to fade away. And now, seeing that he's in 2nd, he's going to be scoring a good haul of points. Going to be more than happy on that one. But for Nick Tyrrell, it's just a couple of corners to go and hold on to 2nd place. Diving down into the last 2. It's absolutely on the power. The Acetec Sim Sports dressed car now making his way through. Nick Tyrrell will be coming towards the line, taking the victory in the 2nd last round of the championship and securing his 2nd place in the Pony Express GT3 Challenge. Terry Calgo Jr. will take 2nd and hold enough points to call himself champion in the pros, as Ryan Tyler has a nightmare. He gets a black flag. He can't serve the drive-through penalty, which means it is going to be Paul Skip to go moving up the order. Velasco will move up. Ryan Tyler is in the danger zone come the final race, but it's a win for Rene Butter Jr., scoring his first set of points for the championship, with James Foreman going to be calling himself the GTD AM champion as he takes 2nd place with Russell Abram in 3rd. What a race, and how this has all flipped over. It's turned into a night to forget for some. It has been a nightmare for others. Joshua Suksi, along with Justin Togdegno, they felt they didn't have an easy time out there. I mean, we just seen everything go all over the show. But for Ryan Tyler, he has to get a solid podium to hold on to 3rd place in the championship down to the wire. It means it's not set in stone for our GTD Pro and for our GTD AM 2nd and 3rd. It's still wide open. There is still every opportunity to move forward. Rob, what we have just witnessed is down to the wire. 1st place has been captured by both drivers in the Pro and the AM, but 2nd has only been taken in the Pro class. GTD AM, it's wide open. 3rd place in the GTD Pro, it is a solid fight between 3 drivers. We are witnessing a bit of history here, and it's all thanks to Imola. And what a race it has been. But man, oh man, not what many of these drivers wanted to run into.
Yeah, that's you know what, I feel terrible for Ryan Tyler. Put in a brilliant performance. Things kind of unraveled after that 2nd pit stop for him, Steven, and he's probably thinking about what could have been here this evening. He'll go into the final race in Road Atlanta. His hopes and dreams will be resting on trying to get a 2nd place in the championship here, as you mentioned, Terry Calgary Jr. wrapping up the pro side. So we'll see how the battle unfolds between Terrell, Ryan Tyler, and I believe it's Paul Skip you mentioned, the 3rd driver in that battle for 2nd place. But the championship for both classes locked up. But let's take a look at the results, Stephen, after this one.
Absolutely was a manic one. Taking a look at our GTD Pro as Nick Tyrrell able to get the victory over Terry Calgo Jr. Logan Draper holding on to 3rd place. First time out and gets himself a podium. What better way to have a bit of fun? Javier Sierra in 4th place with Paul Skip, Alex Velasco, Sean Adkins, Ryan Tyler, Wes Amrick, and rounding out our top 10 is Jason Brothers, Gerald Lowry in 11th, and Roger Tyler rounds out in 12th position, 2 laps down on our leader. But taking a look over to our AM class, it's Rene Butter Jr. scoring first set of points for the championship and getting a victory ahead of James Foreman. Russell Abram up into 3rd. John Cooper put the pressure on. Unfortunately, spun out of the final corner. We'll hold on to 4th place. Brandon Coombs finishes up in the top 5 ahead of Joshua Suksi. Dan Bonnet, along with Justin Togdegno, Devin Lowry, and Ryan Javine, unfortunately, did not start this race. Man, oh man, what a race, Rob. What a race. And it's coming down to the wire right for the battle. I can't wait to have a chat to our drivers. I mean, this has been a championship right till the last, and we get to go and have a chat to our winners, Nick Tyrrell and Renee Butter Jr., on their incredible race and how it was. And starting things off, we have got Nick Tyrrell. Nick, welcome. How are you feeling after that race? Because you had the deck stacked against you. It looked like the fight for second place was on. You managed to get first and managed to secure that second place in the GT3 Pro. How are you feeling after fighting it out here at Imola?
I was hoping there'd be at least 1 or 2 pros between myself and Terry at the end, and then unfortunately it didn't work out that way. So we just kind of did a swap of some points for this week. He got the bonus points too. I also got the bonus points, so there's only the 1 position worth of points being switched there. But yeah, I was hoping once I finally get by Ryan there at the end, he was going to be able to battle Terry, and then I saw him spin. I was like, no, you were like my ally after you were in my review, and didn't work out the way I necessarily wanted, but still can't ever complain about a pretty clean win, and the EOL starting from the back group and everything kept it pretty clean and just kept consistent working to the front.
Well, it's going to be your second win of the season. I mean, this is turning into a difficult time. What's the game plan heading into the final round next week?
Well, it's going to be Terry, myself, and Logan starting in the back group next week. Logan's a new member, new pro that joined this week. With it being double points last week race of the season and everything, it's going to be interesting. It's need some luck to go my way or whoever's win it way, and then we'll see how the drop weeks and all that are at the end. I haven't dug into hypotheticals or anything just yet, but just trying to take things one race, one lap at a time, you know.
That's all about just trying to keep it all together. Absolutely wonderful stuff. And I'm sure it is going to be a race and a half. Nick, before we let you go and enjoy the celebrations after a hard fight up through the order and managing to take the win here tonight, anything you would like to say to all the drivers and teams out in the Pony Express that you got to battle out with here tonight? Also to every single one of the fans out in the virtual grandstands cheering on the entire battles out at the race at Nexus.
Yeah, I hope it was all pretty entertaining for the broadcast and anyone watching. Everyone that comes out each week to race hard, race clean. That's kind of the goal here. We split up the points between pro and AM. We don't have them where we're fighting each other for points literally, so it helps promote just kind of sound decision making on where you can maybe let someone by and things like that, and just keep consistent. Just everyone that makes this thing happen, and then our spouses, my wife especially, that just there was some of the days of the week we got evening plans for this sort of stuff. So yeah, that's it.
Absolutely wonderful. Nick, congratulations once again. A great drive, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can do heading into the final race of the season and seeing if you can go and capture the last of the checkered flags.
Yeah, thank you, fellas. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Nick Tyrrell, everybody, having a stellar run up into the battle. But now, having a bit of a chat to our leader of the GTD Pro. It is Terry Cargo Jr. Terry, how are you feeling after this? It was a monster race. And at one stage of the game, it looked like it was coming down to the final race of the season for you to be able to hold on to the lead points. But it was Lady Luck that smiled on you. How are you feeling after the race?
Worn out. For sure. That was a tough one. It got bounced around a little bit, but some of it was my fault being a little too aggressive. But it worked out in the end. Unfortunate, you know, with the car contact. I never try to do that, you know. But no, it was, I don't have a very good track record here, so I'll take a P2 all day long.
I think that definitely ties in with what Rob Campbell saying also. Loves the circuit, but the circuit doesn't love him. But exactly. With that being said, Terry, this championship has been a knife fight between yourself, Nick Tyrrell, Ryan Tyler. You have been in for a solid charge. Looking towards next week, the final round, are you looking forward to trying to capture the final checker flag of the season and ending up on a high and really continuing your streak of 7 podiums that you've had this season, with 4 wins total, trying to make it a 5th one.
Yes, I am. It's going to be tough because next week we're at Road Atlanta in the dark for 2 hours instead of our traditional 1. So, and finishes are going to mean a little bit more because it's going to be for double points. So I don't think any position is 100% wrapped up yet, especially the championship. So I think that could come down to the wire depending on pit strategy and some luck during the race.
That's going to be an incredible one. Well, I'm going to leave you be for your celebrations with the team. But before we let you go, anything you would like to say to all the drivers and teams here at the Pony Express, but also to everyone out on the virtual grandstands cheering on, going and seeing this championship fight going down to the wire out in the Racer Nexus VIP grandstands?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks everybody that comes out week to week to make this thing happen. Obviously we couldn't do it without everybody, and you know, big thanks for you guys for doing what you do. Broadcasts are great, and we're getting ready to gear up for next season. Hopefully we're going to have you guys back. We're still working on that, but other than that, just thanks to everybody that helps me and that is involved with this.
Absolutely. Well done, Terry, and what a drive. And what a successful run on your part. Looking forward to coming back for our next round, and hopefully it's going to be a ton of fun. Looks like the next season's going to be rather busy. Terry Calgary Jr. going and getting the victory here tonight. Well, getting 2nd place and maximizing his points for the championship. But jumping into the booth, scoring his first ever points in the championship, coming in with a solid charge. Renee Bader Jr., welcome to the this is not your first time going and scoring points, but your first time that you've actually managed to get a win in the GTD AM class. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. Had a good run there for a little bit with Ryan right before we stopped for the first pit cycle, and yeah, car was good. I was feeling pretty good at the track. Pretty comfortable. I only took tires at 1 stop and then just took fuel the 2nd stop, so yeah, everything worked out, I guess. I wasn't sure. I never know where I'm at on the track. My live timing's kind of hit or miss sometimes, so but yeah, everything worked out, I guess.
So just race anyone, everyone, whatever's got 4 wheels and an engine that's the target. Go and get ahead of the rest of the field. With that being said, the points will be jumping you up in towards the top 5. How are you feeling heading into the final round of the championship next week, and knowing that there's an opportunity to stand in the top 5?
Yeah, pretty good. I have a lot of experience at Road Atlanta. We actually won Petite in our racing last year with a couple other guys on here, so yeah, it should be pretty good. Hopefully it's a good turnout for the last one for the season. So
with double points on the line, I think everyone's going to be clamoring to try and hold on to their championships. And once again, a stellar run. You were untouched by any of the GTD AM drivers. Before I let you go, anything you would like to say to everyone here at the Pony Express GT3 Challenge, and also to all our petrol heads out in the virtual grandstands?
No, I appreciate everyone tuning in. You know, we have a good group of guys here. Everyone's fairly easy and clean to race with. And yeah, just thanks for the guys for hosting it, and thanks for you guys for the broadcast. So hopefully it was pretty exciting on the broadcast side.
It was most certainly a nail biter, and well done once again on a stellar victory. Looking forward to seeing what you can do heading into the final round of the championship. It's going to be a nail biter, that's for sure.
Appreciate it.
Renee Butter Jr. able to capture first place. But with that being said, Rob, next week, double points, 2 hours worth of racing, and it's coming down to the wire in both Pro and Am right here at the Pony Express. We're in for a great time. We're in for a bit of fun. It's gonna be a crazy time as we head back over to America, but we say farewell to Italy. We say farewell to Autodrome Enzo E Dino Ferrari. And a farewell to you for this evening, folks. It's been a great one. On behalf of Rob Campbell, our production and also co-host here at Racer Nexus, also to all our partners, Apex Sim Racing, Track Cam, or Gourmet, if you really want to go and have some fun, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, and if you want to get involved with all the racing here at Pony Express, just follow through in the description. We have got the Discord set up and ready to go. But folks, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Stephen Koenig, and like always, a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.